This is going to be the Culling of Stratholme as a protection paladin. Very first thing I do when I walk into this dungeon is I go for my Divine Steed button and land on Avenging Wrath instead. So I have Avenging Wrath up. Anyway, yeah, so, right, Culling of Stratholme, one of the Caverns of Time dungeons, so I don't get to look at like myself. This is a dungeon that I kind of wanted to skip on a lot of my characters. Just, like, take one through it to get this footage, but turns out the end reward for this is a pretty nice pair of gloves that was an upgrade for pretty much all of my characters, so I ended up taking everybody through here. Done perfectly. It's still about 24 minutes long. This run's maybe a minute or two longer than that. This is pretty by the book. Gonna be a straightforward run. This is what my Zandalari troll looks like as a human. Got short red hair. And is a human. That's the part I don't like. Right, anyway, right. Plague Rain Illusions. I know exactly how this quest goes. I seem to be getting to them quicker than anybody else is. Usually I'm the one in the dungeon who's doing this. Because I know where all the crates are. I go immediately to them. Only occasionally do I get somebody in this dungeon who knows what to do and does it quicker than I do. So right. Pick up the quest from Chromie. Dispel the 5 crates. Ride over to where Chromie is. Talk to her to start the event. You can't just turn in the quest. You have to actually choose the other conversation option. Then Arthas and Uther stand there talking for like 10 minutes before the dungeon can actually start. But eventually, you get in and do this. Anyway, yeah, so Avenging Wrath. I'm just going to skip the Arthas sequence here. Press those buttons, and the thing starts. Sit here for a long, long time, and then eventually he'll come in and you can do this.
Everyone looks ready. Remember, these people are all infected with the
Once you come in and talk to Arthas, still have to wait here for a little while for him to start killing people, then have a little conversation with Mal'Ganis. Yeah, so learned the ins and outs of this place pretty well. It's not that bad. Surprisingly, just seeing all of this over and over, actually, it didn't make me like it more, but it made me dislike it less, which I guess is kind of the same thing. I built up a tolerance. I don't know, it's just all the waiting that I get impatient with this. Like, let me play the game instead of just sitting here waiting for the game to play itself.
That was just the beginning.
Mal'Ganis is going to pop up right here, and I'm going to light a fire under him.
I've been waiting for you, young prince.
This is how I amuse myself. Those risen zombies come in at a weird time. It's like right after Mal'Ganis starts talking, there's a little bit of action to do, but a risen zombie is not actually a threat.
Household by household.
Now let's see, when I ran this dungeon as this character, did I know that the first group always spawns to my right? It looks like I didn't because I'm facing left. Spawn points are randomized for Scourge forces everywhere except the first one. Every single time I've run this dungeon, the first one comes from just over to my right, short of that gate. Mistweaver Healer. He, I guess, by his name, seemed fairly new at this. He's going to spend most of his mana on way too many enveloping mist casts. That is what I noticed. Other than that, he does a fine job. Just, you know, he's a little inefficient with it. He's going to need to learn for more demanding dungeons than this. But it does fine for this dungeon. Alright, after this I have to watch my map. There's a flag on it. Some of these spawn locations I just have to know. Scourge forces have been spotted near the Elder Square Gate. Where is that? Well, if you know the dungeon layout and know what the names of places are, which I still don't, even having run this like 12 times in a row, none of it know exactly where to go. So I look for the flag on my map. If I don't see it, then I walk to the one place where it usually shows up if I haven't seen it, which is the Town Hall, which is up ahead of here. Which is a location I know, so I can just look at the chat log. I don't know, this part of this dungeon is strange. I'm making all these human noises. They just sound weird coming out of my character's mouth. She doesn't sound like she's supposed to. Near the town hall, yes, okay, so that's the one that doesn't show up on the map, because I think the face of Sauron the Flesh Render covers up where the flag would be or something. Flesh Crafter? Flesh Crafter, that's the one. He doesn't destroy, he creates. So right, sorry, Avenging Wrath. That's my level 80 ability, and I think the last one that just pops into my spellbook automatically. In fact, I think no character gets anything past level... No class gets anything past level 80, other than new talent points at 90 and... Is it just 90 and 100? I forget. It might just be 90 and 100. Because, like, it's every 15 levels up to a certain point, after which it's not. Anyway, yeah, so Avenging Wrath increases my damage done for, like, 12 seconds or something, and makes sure that the first Light of the Protector, after I press the button, will hit critically. So it's a do more damage, and also heal self a little bit more button. So when I'm ready to do some damage, I'll probably use it on Meathook. Meathook doesn't get a flag on the map that I noticed. So I watch for where his speech balloon pops up so to know where to get to him. He just sort of pops in at a location. And you gotta go find him. Avenging Wrath? If I remember? I remembered! There it is. Who else is in my party? There's a warrior right next to me. A mage and a warlock behind me. And a druid. Wait. That's not possible. No. That, what I think is a mage-colored dot is actually my Mistweaver, isn't it? Is there a similar color? Okay, so warlock, balanced druid, and... Okay, yeah, that is a fury warrior. Got it. For a second, I was looking at that axe in his left hand, and I thought it was a shield. You don't usually want to wear hold a shield when you're playing a warrior that's not in protection specialization. You can do it, but it's not recommended. Alright, now yet another part of this dungeon where everybody has to stand around awkwardly while nothing at all happens. I'm watching the Scourge Wave 5 out of 10 thing at the top of my screen. There isn't really any point in moving because I don't know where to move to until that little white flag pops up. And Scourge forces get spotted near the Festival Lane gate. Let's see, Festival Lane Gate is here. King Square Fountain is where Frasiabi is in Stratholme Main Gate, Classic Dungeon. Town Hall is up ahead where you meet Arthas later. I guess Elder's Square Gate is the one on the right on the way to the Town Hall that you can't actually go through. That in Classic would lead between Main Gate and Service Entrance, but is permanently closed. Yeah, Elder's Square Gate, there it is. Are those all the spots? Might be. No, Market Row is mentioned at some point or something, somewhere, maybe? I don't know. So right, this was the first dungeon I took my... I'm not showing this run now, but I took my Death Knight through here after I had accidentally leveled her to 81. I was taking some damage here. How's my Mistweaver's mana? It's fine, 2/3. But I was taking some damage, so I decided to press some buttons and do something about it. So did he. I got a life cocoon. Right, so leveled my Death Knight to 81 by accident. And I party synced her down to level 80 to try this dungeon and see how that would go. And it was a lot dicier than I expected. I've read up a little bit more on party sync since then and discovered several things. From what I was reading, it sounds like instead of just scaling my stats down, what it does is give me a template set of stats, regardless of my gear level or anything. So it sounds like it actually decreases my power quite a bit, and there's nothing I can do about it. It's just going to be what it is, no matter what my character's current stats are. I'll have to do some testing to see how accurate that actually is, but yes, so because of that, I think it's not going to be particularly viable to bring her to Halls of Reflection. So I'll have to just take my other characters through there, because I will need some power gain beyond... I mean, like, if I'm having trouble staying alive in the Culling of Stratholme, like, there is no way Halls of Reflection is going to be possible without anything but, like, the most prepared healer. And if I'm just coming in with a random group, I will not get the most prepared healer. I might get somebody like this who doesn't know how to manage their mana. Or like me when I went there and I knew how to manage my mana. It just... Halls of Reflection is not built for a Mistweaver. So yeah, that's fine though. I still have all my other characters I can run that with. Another thing I learned... Again, I still need to test this, but it is reported... Okay, so yeah, so not a female's health mana bar is down to 1/3 now. Down to about 1/4 now. I'm getting a lot of life cocoons and stuff here. Enveloping Mist when I probably don't particularly need it. Wait, we're on Sauron the Flesh Crafter already? Okay, those Scourge Waves 6 through 9 actually go pretty quick. Right, yeah, other thing is, it is reported that I would have to stop somebody at level 79 instead of 80 in order to party sync to 80, because it sounds like if I sync with a level 80, I'll get level 90. I don't know, it's complicated. It's not a great system. Dungeon leveling stuff is going to have to be revamped in the next expansion anyway, because leveling in general is changing completely. So maybe this problem will just work itself out in a matter of months, but I don't know. I want to do it now. I want to go through all the dungeons in the current expansion, if I can. And doing it the way I do is tough, especially when I make a slip up and level somebody too far.
I know the way through.
I've learned that an ability like Tiger's Lust can be placed on Arthas here to have him run faster and actually speed this up. Let's see, what else works? Stampeding Roar as a druid. That one doesn't last very long. What else is a targetable, or something that can be put on party members to make them move faster? I think there's a Shaman Totem that can do it if I opt into the talent. Paladin doesn't get anything. But yeah, like little ways to make Arthas move faster so this dungeon can move on quicker. The thing is, though, not that much time is actually lost in his run speed. It's more just him standing there and waiting 10 seconds to start spouting off one of his lines of dialogue, like he's doing now.
Mal'Ganis appears to have more than Scourge in his arsenal. We should make haste.
Alright, next spawn point's at the top of these stairs. Eventually Arthas will join us and let us move on.
More vile sorcery. Be ready for anything.
From Arthas's perspective, this is all just Mal'Ganis trying to stop him from purging the city something something. But we know it's actually outside interference messing with the time stream. And that's why we're here, to make sure history is preserved. Arthas does his horrible things so that the entire fabric of reality doesn't unwind.
Let's move on.
Slightly annoying spot here for tanks, because things come from two sides at once, and I often see party members just run ahead to the other side of this hallway. Everybody here's being nice and staying back.
Watch your backs.
They were.
Have us surrounded in this hole.
I think there are... Actually, no, now that I look at this, there's only a caster on the near side. Far side had an infinite adversary and hunter, both of which would come to me cooperatively. So yeah, tanking him on this side of the hallway would be more optimal, it seems, because there isn't a caster on the other side who would just sit there and wait. Okay, I lit something.
Mal'Ganis is not making this easy. They're very persistent.
So the infinite agent is the one that sits still and casts arcane spells. Got it. Oh hey, Arthas got a killing blow. That's what that quote means.
What else can he put in
For Chronolord Epoch, it's convenient to have the entire party all grouped up, because he's going to do a time dilation thing that makes everybody move slower while he does it. Soul. While he does it, he charges around at everybody, and if the whole party is grouped up, then his charge won't go very far, and everybody will stay in range. So I kind of want everyone to stay in the same place here. Which they're mostly doing. Balance Druid's off in the corner. Somebody walked away. Okay, well, never mind. We were all grouped up. Yeah, this. Move speed is slower, cast speed is way slower. I saw that Essence Font trying to go off on that monk and was just kind of sitting above his head without much happening. Yeah, okay, so there was an overriding enveloping mist. I still had 4 seconds left on it, but he put a new one on me. Yep, okay, still had some time left, but I got a new one. When, like, I wasn't even in a situation that called for enveloping mist in the first place. I wonder if this is the first time this particular monk player has played Mistweaver. Because I feel like that is an issue that would get worked out very quickly. Right in this spot is where I'd put Tiger's Lust and Arthas if I could. Probably. I'm not sure how much it would help though, because I'm walking at normal speed here. I have to wait for him to teleport to this location. He doesn't just walk here. He's going to teleport. There he is. There was very little waiting there, so maybe Tiger's Lust or Stampeding Roar or whatever wouldn't actually help. It's hard to say. This whole gauntlet turns out to be way less confusing than I always thought it was. Risen zombies are pretty much completely ignorable. And you know, Arthas acts like you want to move through here as quickly as possible, whatever, but you can just do this like a normal part of the dungeon. My normal pace moves easily as quickly as necessary. I don't think you even have to go fast here. I don't think there's any actual time pressure, just fake time pressure. But I did walk off before that enraging ghoul was all the way dead, which I don't usually do. So I guess I'm playing along a little bit here. Group of 3 acolytes. Gotta pick them up. So acolytes aren't too much of a threat, but they will stand there and cast. Enraging Ghoul can hurt a bit if you're not ready for them. Crypt Fiend stands still and casts and can't be silenced or interrupted, so they're annoying. And then the big abominations. I guess there's maybe only one of them. I think there's a second one up here. Yeah, so just, I guess the only thing that makes this place at all confusing is all of the extra noise and busyness of the risen zombies everywhere. But if I can just mentally filter those out, this is a pretty straightforward section. They're just a distraction. Yeah, see, they just fall over when you breathe on them, pretty much. Rest a moment. No thanks. We're gonna go ahead without you. Why exactly is the city on fire? Doesn't seem like fires here have anything to do with what's going on. Everybody's sick and turning into zombies, and Arthas is here killing them, but how does that result in the city being burned down? That's the part I don't know. Is Arthas setting the fires? That'd be like him, wouldn't it? He was off doing something while we fought the first 10 Scourge waves at the beginning. Don't know where he was for all that. Maybe he was starting fires. Almost done. Just Mal'Ganis now.
This plague to spread.
One more spot where you have to stop and remember to talk to Arthas. There's a lot of them.
Market Row has not caught fire yet. Mal'Ganis is supposed to be in Crusader Square, which is just ahead. Tell me when you're ready to move forward.
At least he makes that very clear. Tell me when you're ready to move forward. No mistaking that. Mal'Ganis annoys the healer and damage dealer sometimes by putting them to sleep. It's the only notable thing he does. Other than that, he's just kind of there. Oh, he does some sort of like frontal wave attack thing. I never even noticed that. So I guess it's good that I have him pointing away from everybody else. I bet it doesn't really do damage though. About as much as one of his melee hits, it looks like, which is not much. What button did I just press? Guardian of Ancient Kings? Okay, got it. Why? That was unnecessary. I guess I'm just rotating through my defensives just so I don't start taking more damage. Somebody's asleep. I see those Z's. And he goes neutral, and I'm going to stand right where the chest spawns. Now I'm inside it. I can jump a few times to get on top.
Meet me in the Arctic land of Northland. It is there that we shall settle the score.
And now, as if the waiting wasn't enough, we have to wait for Chromie to come in.
Ends of the earth if I have to. Do you hear me? To the ends of the earth!
So I did this thing where, over the course of all the runs I did through this dungeon, I placed down a campfire here with a guess at where Chromie's going to land. I want to place the fire exactly where she's going to be. I didn't quite hit it this time, but by the time I took the last character I needed through here, I got the position exactly. So I could line it up with I had a visual reference on those stairs and like the paving stones. There's a, let's see. I'm looking at it now. I don't see the spot super clearly. I think about like 3 stones to my left is where I wanted the fire, right? Yeah, pretty much right there. Yeah, the last character I threw here, ran through here, I got it dead center right on Chromie. Anyway, so that was the Culling of Stratholme. Hopefully the last time I'll have to see that place. It's not so bad, but, you know, it's not great. I'll see you next time.